You need to go to your React folder or anywhere, wherever you want to create. You can create a file, this one, developer guide. Create a text file, give the file name developer guide. Text file anywhere, wherever you want. Create a file. Just a guide for you. Better you can create in the React folder. It will be one place. Go to the text file. Under the text file, again I will share this much in your chat, or it is already in the chat. You can take that and add here. I will share again in the chat. I sent it. Modify a little here. Create a folder. React. Open CMD in React folder and run these commands one by one. And run these commands one by one in your React folder. Okay, next after that, the React we are going to learn using JSX. JavaScript and XML, you can say. JSX, JavaScript and XML. JavaScript and XML. JavaScript, you have some idea, you have seen also. I will give example here. First, XML. What is that? What are the rule regulation of that? Then after that, even we can write here JSX come from where? JSX come from where? JSX come from the our JavaScript will remain same, plus HTML tag remains same, plus XML rules will get applied. Then it will convert into JSX. XML rule will get applied, then it will convert into JSX. Now first, I don't know whether you have it or not. I will create one XML example here and will guide you. 3 policies are from the XML. We will create a small example. In that small example, we will understand what is that policy. After getting idea on that, we will come to our JSX. In JSX, we have 4 rules. While writing the React.js code, we have to write the code in JSX only. Using TypeScript is also there, but our syllabus is based on JSX. Using JSX, when you are writing the React.js, you can create your own tag. You can follow the predefined tag. Multiple ways are there. Those come under the JSX rule regulation. So first create XML, see how XML look. XML, it's called extensible markup language, and the structure of XML is like this. A structure of XML file. A structure of XML file is a structure of XML file is XML start. I will write below XML end also. XML end also. Now here how that XML look. XML says like the point number one, XML tags are user defined. XML tags are user defined, the first rule. Second rule, every XML file should have only one parent tag. Third one, what it says, XML tags are case sensitive. Case sensitive, spelling you can check once. That meaning a small character and caps, or I will write here lowercase case and uppercase, both are different. Case sensitive represent like, let me see the spelling of this case sensitive. It may be wrong also, not sure. Case sensitive. So look like correct only. Okay. So hope you tags are user defined. Like if you remember HTML, you used to follow the body, HTML head, paragraph, table tr, tag and all. So here in XML it's not like that. There is nothing predefined tag. We can create our own tag. Okay, like XML tags are user defined, means we can create our own tag. The first rule of XML. Second rule of XML says like inside the XML file we represent. If you remember your HTML file structure, HTML start and end, body will close. So body tag, how many times you open in one file? Only one time. In one file, body tag, how many times you open? Only one time, right? So that is called as a root element. Similar way here in XML also say, like in one XML file, you can create one parent tag. You cannot create multiple. Next, it says like XML tag are case sensitive. Like if you are writing a small, you have to close a small. You are starting from the capital, you have to close with the capital. Now let's look here. XML example, what it says. Suppose I will go here and I will write like this. XML start VERSION version equal to version equal to 1.0. Version is compulsory to mention which version. So this first line will represent yes, XML file start here. Your compiler will understand yes, this document belongs to XML. How you write HTML file in beginning, you write HTML start, HTML end. Similar way here also, it will say XML start and XML end. That represent this document belong to XML. Suppose you have 100 users. 100 users, you have their name, email, mobile, city, address, pin code. You want to store in XML format, how you will store? Okay, how you will store? So it says like, it can be any tag, it can be any tag made by user. So suppose I have a user who have the name. So what I did, I want to store the information of user, so I created the user tag, open and close. Inside the user, I will be taking the name of the user, so I will create a tag called name, called Ganesh. I will close the name tag. Next, I will start with the email, or maybe let me use some other thing. Age, I will keep here 40 years. I will close the age. You saw here, we created our own tag. User is a user defined tag. Name is a user defined tag. Age is a user defined tag. I want to store the mobile number of user. I will create a mobile tag and I can write here easily and I can close the mobile. I will create a tag called address. EDDRESS and I will write here called Marathali. Now address tag is closed. So you saw here what is that? It says like XML tags are user defined. So fine, we kept as a user defined and we store few information about the users. About one user like this, suppose you have 100 user, you have 200 users that you store in the Excel, you store in database. In case there is a chance to store in XML, then how it will look? It will look like this only. You can create your own tag and store the value and close the tag, but make sure, suppose if you are starting the age, A start with a capital, suppose A start with a capital, and if you are trying to close by a small, it is 100% error. It is 100% as a error, right? Why error? Because it is the case sensitive language. It will not allow to write like this. You have to write, if you are starting with a small, close by a small only. That is called XML tags are case sensitive. Lower case and upper case both are different. So the hope this point is clear. User defined tag and it must be same as you open, same you have to close. But now suppose I have one more user. So what I will do, I will copy and keep here. Let me keep call Ramesh. 42 years and his number is something. He belong to Whitefield. Okay. So it is following proper everything, there is no problem. But one rule is getting failed. That is the second rule. It says like, suppose in a document you have multiple elements, you cannot live independent. For example, name, age, mobile, address is the part of user. Name, age, mobile, address is the part of user. So that meaning you can say the name tag is depend on user tag. Similar way, inside the current page, how many user you have? So there is a 2 user. Again, document structure went wrong because XML says like, if you have multiple element, then you cannot keep independently. You must have to make it dependent. You have to keep inside a parent tag. So the second rule says like every XML file should have one parent tag. So what we'll do is, here we can open a tag called user list, and at last we can close the tag called user list. User list open, user list close. Right? User list open, user list close. Now you saw it is following the rule, 100% rule of the XML. XML file should have a parent tag. Yes, we have. XML tags are user defined. Yes, we have. Inside the parent, there can be a number of child. No problem. There is a 2 as of now. Right? So hope it is clear. So what we need to learn from this example? 3 points only. XML tags are case sensitive and it is user defined, as well as in XML file there must be a parent tag. Okay, why we need to understand this? Because if you look little upside, here JSX says where it's come from. Since we are going to write the React code, under the React you have to write HTML, JavaScript together. While writing the HTML and JavaScript together, you cannot write anything anywhere. You have to write HTML tag only inside the JavaScript, but based on a rule regulation. What are the rule regulation? This is going to come from the XML. Now in XML, how many rules are there? In XML, we have first rule that says it will have a user defined tag. So when we create the JSX, when we create the React file, it is not necessary we will follow only HTML tags. We can create our own tag also. We can write user defined tag also. And after creating the user defined tags, user defined tag and predefined tag, both the tags we can mix together. That is the sense of this line. Okay, XML rules. XML rule, what it says, all the tags can be user defined also. So here already we are following the predefined tag. Division, paragraph, H1, H2, bold, italic, table, tr, th, all you can use here from the HTML side. In case HTML is not helping you proper, then you can take the help from where XML, you can create your own tag also. We are going to do that. Next, it says like XML, inside every XML, there should be a parent tag. So while writing the JSX, JavaScript and XML under the React, we will make sure, yes, multiple tags we have, it must be inside a container, it must be inside a parent tag. The third rule says like, if you are creating your own tag, you cannot write anything anywhere. You must have to follow the case sensitive rule regulation. If you have started the uppercase, you must have to close with the uppercase only. If you close by uppercase, lowercase, it will throw the error. Right? So hope till here it is clear. Yes, no, tell me. Then I'll move next. JSX we are going to write. Inside the JSX, we will use the HTML, JavaScript and rule regulation of JSX. Rule regulation of JSX says like you can create your own tag. So definitely we are going to write HTML tag. We are going to write the XHTML tag. Like we can create our own tag. Okay. Extensible hypertext markup language. We can create our own tag also. We will look into the example. After looking into the example, it will be clear for you automatically. Okay. So I will come here now to the example file which we have set up earlier. We have set up a folder. Whoever have not set up, please follow the guide and do that. So let's go to your project one folder. I will run the project. I will show you the output. We will modify the code and then we will match based on this rule regulation. Really, these lines what we have written, it is valid or invalid. Okay, we have written here, but it has to get proved through the React. Yes, React really is saying like this or not. Okay, so for that, let's come to your project one folder and open CMD. Under the project one folder, open the CMD, and under the CMD, we'll keep here code space dot enter. It will go to the VS Code directly. Let it go. After that, inside that CMD, we will write npm start. npm start. npm start. This is npm start is going to compile the source code of your React. It is going to compile the source code of your React. It will take too much time. If this setup is there, please run it. Compile it. It's compiling. We'll wait a minute.
So the command to run is npm start.
For Mac computer, some other command will be there. You can check once. For Mac computer, for other commands will be there. You can check that.
Okay. First is it thank you. First is it Alderman. Ligunda. The sure. It was the first day of school. No?
Long time, yeah. Okay. See the compile successfully. Hope for other people also compilation happen. Let's come to the browser. Execute this. Okay, so you can see here it is printing online. Let me come to the page again. We'll go to the page again. This is the app.js file is the main file. Inside the project SRC folder, once you set up the project, you will have node modules. That is the library. Public folder, you are going to keep some command file over there. SRC folder is the main file folder where entire everything is stored. That is required for us. And here only we are going to write the code. We are going to do our development under the SRC folder. In SRC folder even, which is the main file that is going to take the action. So under the SRC folder, index.js is the main file that is going to take the action. Okay, so that I will guide you through the diagram how that is happening. In index.js file, the data will come from the this file, app.js file. Under the index.js file, data will come from the app.js file. How that come, let's discuss again. Come to the app.js file now. App.js file is your first file where data is getting generated and it is coming under the browser. This is the example you have. So in this file, as per the JSX, what rule we have written, what XML rule we have written, let me go here and modify these points, modify this point. Okay. After doing modification here, what I will do is I will start with the one element. I will start with the one element. So let me go here and write here call H1. Inside I'll keep call working and save the file. H1 and then I keep save the file. Now let me come to my browser and have a look whether my page is loading or not. So you can see here, it says like working. H1 got changed in the browser. So that meaning, what is the file? The file is, this is the file. App.js is the file from where content is coming first. Now, one element is there, one tag is there, H1, it's working well. I will add here one more paragraph, and after that you will see directly it will throw the error. Okay, I will go here and at this place, let's go, why not? So here I can add some content. VS Code. Okay. So some content is added here. After that, you can see here, when we have added one second element, error came. Error came reason is it's not following the rule of the XML. Our XML says like in a component, in a file, if you have multiple element, if you have more than one element, you cannot leave directly. Okay, in a component, if you have multiple element, you cannot leave that directly. Okay, so what we should do for that? We must have to keep inside a parent tag, then only it will follow the rule of XML. So I will open a division tag and I will close the division tag. And inside the division tag, we will add the remaining all the elements. Nice, very slow. We went here, we'll keep a division here. And after that, this division we can close at the end. So this division will become as a parent element. We went here and then we'll close this div. Now you will find it is following the rule of the XML 100%. It will not get filled now, it will work. So what we discuss in XML point, in a document, the tags can be user defined. So we have not written the user defined. These all are as of now predefined only. These all are as of now predefined tag we have followed. Inside XML rules says like there must be one parent element and remaining other can be a child element. So division become as a parent element and remaining become as a child element. When I look into the browser, the output should come proper. Let me go to the browser and have a look once. See here. Paragraph is also comes plus H1 is also coming. Both are working. Next XML says like in case if you are not okay with the predefined tag due to some CSS problem or other problem, due to some CSS problem and other problem, if the predefined tag is not supporting you, at that point there is nothing but difficulties. What you can do, remove the predefined tag and use your own tag. That is called ABC. You can open and you can put here ABC, open the ABC, close the ABC, it will work 100% successfully. That is what is called as a XML. You can check now. It's become as a user defined tag. It is not as a predefined tag. This become as a user defined tag. This become as a user defined tag. Let me look into the browser. See here, still it is working. There is no problem at all. So working. So that what is that? What rule regulation we have written? It is correct. Now one more point was there. Let's check that also. A start with the small. Now let me close the A with the capital. ABC was started with a small. ABC I am closing with the capital. Now you can see it shows here one warning message, right? Unexpected JSX closing tag for ABC, right? Unexpected JSX closing tag for ABC. When I go to the browser, see, error came, nothing is displaying because error happened in your page. The tag what you have written, you have not followed the rule of the XML. If you have not followed the rule of the XML, your JSX document structure will be wrong and at last it will not display anything. So we must have to remember that. What are 3 points? XML tags are user defined. Similar way, under the JSX also, the tags can be user defined. In JSX also, the tag will open and close. It's a compulsory. If you have open, you must close it. Okay, open, close the different rule. Okay, leave that. It says like if you have open capital, you have to close with the capital. Another one, if you have multiple tag, you cannot keep directly. You have to keep inside a parent tag. So for this all, we are going to write a small rules under the developer guide, which we have. We will go here and we will come under the developer guide, and under the developer guide we'll write a JSX rule. Based on JSX rule, from here onwards we will keep writing the React code. You will never face the problem related to JSX, and that rule is of the 4 rules total. So that 4 rules quickly we'll make a note and then we'll move forward. Okay, so come below and hope you are creating these documents. See, like this, I have for every batches I create the document. So if you are writing, I am writing why? Because it's my thought. If I am writing along with my, everyone will write. Else, you can see there is another file for me. I should open this file and explain, and that's it. Okay. But if I explain at that time, you will not write it. Just you will see that. So better you write along with me. 50% you will remember during the class only. Right here. JSX rules. While writing the JSX, JavaScript code and XML and HTML code under the React, what are the rule regulation you need to remember? Definitely it's from the XML only, but in JSX you can write separate. It says like in A, if inside a component represent here a function. Component is going to represent a function here. If inside a component, COMPO, component, inside a component, multiple elements, multiple JSX elements. Here elements what represent? Tags. Here elements represent the tags. It is saying like inside a component, inside a function, if multiple JSX element is required, for example, you are creating a page. Inside the page, you need multiple division, multiple paragraph, multiple H1, H2, H3, something like that. So for that, what you have to follow? You have to follow the first rule. Let it come. A lot of videos are there in the system, because of that getting hang. Inside a component, is nothing but the function. Multiple JSX element is required. Multiple JSX element is required. Then follow parent JSX element. Okay, it is saying like if multiple element you have inside a component, you cannot write independently. You must have to keep inside a JSX element. How that comes? Example. Suppose we have a division H1 we have written here called about us, and you close the H1. After that, you have a paragraph tag. You wrote few lines about us. You close the P tag as well. You wrote one more paragraph tag. Right. You close that P tag. Now suppose you added one more, maybe any other tag. Other tag can be a span tag. Inside you added something. And you close the span tag. Now see how many elements. Multiple elements, H1, paragraph span. So this will give the error directly. Even you saw today also it was giving the error. So the XML says like, don't worry, solution is there for that. What is the solution? Solution says like, if you have multiple element, don't keep independently to all. Okay, don't keep all independent. What you do? You can keep inside a parent tag. It will follow the rule of the JSX and it will be a valid document so that your React DOM will be able to parse it easily. React DOM will be able to parse easily. So this becomes a first example. Hope you are following me. Second example, we will write here second rule. Since if you are going to use multiple tags, yes, then you can use the division tag, and inside the division you have follow the everything. That is fine, no problem at all. But in case, suppose due to some reason, due to CSS, you have used the division, page is getting break, it's not coming properly, some CSS is getting collapse here there. So in that case, you can use the user defined tag also that come from the pure XML. So I will write here, if inside a component multiple JSX elements required, then the parent JSX element can be user defined also. User defined also. It can be user defined also. Okay, hope ready for that. We can write an example here. Example says like, this section we can copy and we can paste here, and in that we can change here, instead of division we can write as a hello tag open, and same hello tag we can close as well. So this is called as a pure based on XML. This is your second way. Also you can follow. Then you will ask which is the best one. Definitely first one is the best one. Second one is the alternate option. In case due to CSS your page is not supporting properly, then in that case, you can use the second method and it will help you. Definitely first method and second method is the most famous method that most of the time people use. Even third method is also popular only. So hope you are written till second. Third one will go here and will write again. If inside a component multiple JSX element is required, inside a component multiple JSX element is required, then the parent JSX element can be empty tag also. Empty tag also. It can be empty tag also. Okay, hope ready. Now come down and in example case, you can add this point here and this you can keep as a empty tag, something like this. So this three method is the most popular method. You can use any three. It will be best only. So here instead of any division, paragraph or hello XYZ, we follow as a empty tag. So here at this point, empty tag will be as a parent tag and this is also going to work properly. Okay. So let's go ahead next. The last point we have the rule number 4. Mostly no one use, but for interview purpose, you can remember it. What we can remember, let's write this line here also. If in a component, multiple JSX element is required, then what we can do, the parent element can be array also. Array also. Okay. The parent element can be array also. The parent element can be array also. Okay, how that works? Let me go here and add this point here. So here instead of following the square this one, we can follow this array bracket, square bracket, and we can close here. Even you remember whenever you create a array, whenever you create the array, inside the array, after every elements, inside the array, after every element, inside the array, after every elements, you follow the inside the array after every elements you follow the comma. So suppose h1 will become as an array element here, comma is required, paragraph is the element, last comma is optional, just like this. As suppose we have a variable item, inside the item we are going to store some item called as apple, right? After that comma you will give called mango, comma you will give after that, you will keep called banana, comma you will give after that, orange you will give, comma, right? Okay, so this is array we have where we follow the comma after that. Similar way, this is also a list of the elements where after h1 we have to follow the comma, after paragraph comma, whereas last element, last comma is optional. We should not give that as well. Okay, so this 4 method we have. So hopefully you will remember this 4 method and you will remember the document structure of XML, and you will remember the 3 rules of the XML, and based on the 3 rules you are going to write the JavaScript HTML code, and that will be called as a JSX. And JSX is not something very difficult, it is already you are aware of, just you need to remember. Without parent tag we cannot keep multiple tags together, right? Okay, so hope clear. Shall I share this file if you have not written today? Maybe some people have not written, so I will share this code file in your chat. You can use this file. From next class onwards, keep creating the documents, keep making the note in the documentation guide. It will be helpful for you at any moment. Ready? Go ahead next. Next, what we'll do is, if we look into the app.js file, app.js file is a JavaScript file. It has a function called app. It has a function called app, what we have written in JavaScript. Similar way, this is also a JavaScript function where it start with the function keyword. It has a function name, but here something extra what we can see, we have never seen the code like this under the JavaScript. JavaScript never used to return the HTML code. It was returning in the form of a string, but here JavaScript function is returning complete HTML, right? So this is not actual JavaScript. It is called a JSX, JavaScript and XML. Okay. So next after that, this app.js file holding a function called app function, and this app function is the function That you can use one time also, you can use 10 times also, you can use 100 times also. Okay. So when you say like React have a component, so what is the component? So app.js is not a component. App.js is a file where app is a function. Function name is written here called app. The function name is called as a app. Okay. So that function app is called as a component. Inside the component, what you saw? Inside the component, you saw few lines of HTML code, few lines of variable declaration will happen, few lines of condition will be written, few lines of something else will be written. Right? So overall, inside a component, what will come? So inside a component, HTML code will come as well as JavaScript code will come. So the piece of the JavaScript and HTML codes together inside a function is called a component. Piece of the JavaScript code as well as HTML code together inside a function called a component. Then you can say React have component reusability. What is the component reusability? It is very simple. In JavaScript also, you remember, we used to write a function once and the function we can call many times, correct? So function calling again and again is going to call here as a reusability. The app is the function. This function we can use one time also and we can use 100 times also. If you are calling the same function again and again, then it will be called a function reusability, right? But in the term of React, it will not be called a function. We can call it a component reusability. So what you will have inside the component? We have HTML code and we have JavaScript code. Both we have together. HTML code will be based on the rule of the XML. That is called your JSX, right? Now below one line is there, export default app. Export default app. What is that export default app? Export is a keyword that is going to make your function. Export is a reserved keyword of JavaScript that is going to make your function reusable out of this file. Export is going to make your function, export is going to apply the reusability function out of this component, out of this file, not component. Like suppose what I'm trying to say, app is the JS file. Inside the JS file, function definition we have. We have written the definition of the function. We have written some functionality of the function. But question is where you are going to call this function, where you are going to print the output of this function, not in this file, in some other file. Okay. So this function, is getting called in some other file. So React says like you cannot call a function directly. Okay, there is some certain limitation on that. So how to break that limitation? There is a keyword called as export. If you apply the export keyword in front of a function, this function will be able to called by anyone throughout the project. If you apply export keyword in front of a function, your function will be imported by anyone. Anyone can import this function. Import and export both are together. Import meaning is what? Calling, bringing, right? That is called as a import. Suppose we'll say, okay, I have imported a four-wheeler from out of the India. That meaning is what? You purchase a four-wheeler out of the India and you carry it from there to here. That is the meaning of import. You will say, I am going to export my particular item out of the India. That meaning you are going to send your material from India to outside. Export meaning is what? Sending. Import meaning is what? Receiving, bringing, right? Here in React also the same meaning is import, export meaning is same, but here you are not going to send any kind of materials. You are going to send here a variable, you are going to send here a function, you are going to send here a class from one file to other file. Now here applied call export, that meaning the app function will be able to call by anyone out of the project, out of this file. Anyone, any other function can call the app function. Export is going to make your function is importable. Someone can import it. Someone should be able to import your function, so that you have to keep here as a import. I am ready to sell, then someone can buy. I am ready to teach, then only you can learn. right? If I am not able to teach, you cannot attend the class. That meaning is what? I am exporting my knowledge and you are importing my knowledge, right? So sending is called as export and receiving is called as import. Default, what is represent here? Default represent in a file, there can be multiple functions. In a file, there can be multiple functions. So which is the leading function? Which is the main function? Correct? Which is the leading function? Which is the main function? That can be as a export. Okay. That will be marked as a default. Which is the leading function? It will be marked as a default function. Which is the leading function? That will be marked as a default function. So again, we'll discuss tomorrow. Today, late happened while starting the class. I was coming from home. Okay. Hope ready. Okay. Then we'll see you tomorrow. 7 o'clock we can log in.